Hi, my name is Victor Mendez, and I'm doing my persuasive speech. This is Sean and Olivia, who will be sitting in. Alright, let me get this centered. Alright, make sure we can see that. Just a little bit. Okay. Alright, so what if I told you, based on current lifestyle trends and habits, the Earth will be uninhabitable in 50 years. That's a pretty crazy number, isn't it? Now, this isn't due to any single factor. It's a big compounding problem of using landfills, being on the energy grid, use of irrigation, having plumbing in your house. Just our standard of living has become so high that we're hurting the environment more than we're helping it. Now, our society, the United States of America in particular, have a habit of consuming things and then disposing of them. And some of the impoverished nations or third world countries, they have a habit of consuming things and keeping them and reusing them because it's a necessity for them to continue living. I recently did an environmental sustainability survey to see how bad I was as an American and how much I'm really hurting the environment. And it turns out that based on my standard of living, it would take 5 whole Earths to maintain an entire country, entire Earth that looked the way that I did. And we obviously don't have 5 Earths, so it's a really concerning number to look at. Now, I understand it's very difficult to change our habits. Some of these things are part of our livelihood, like using transportation, using your car to get to work, just like having a roof over your head. Like the things that we become used to, we can't really control or change. However, there are things like recycling and your diet in particular, which you do have control over. These are necessities, but you can pick and choose what you eat. And this has become a hot topic. There's a big green incentive, and there's corporations like PETA, which advocates against animal use and advocates for animal rights, because animals consume a lot more energy per capita than any other food source. For example, according to the Wildlife Conservation Society, to produce a single pound of ground beef, it takes around 13 pounds of grain and 2,500 gallons of water. Also in the United States, 70% of our grains and a third of the entire Earth's landmass goes directly towards grazing livestock. Now, this total demand will far outweigh the supply and capacity of the Earth in the next 50 years. Added all the other problems that we're facing, we're not going to be able to live here anymore in 50 years. And there are many alternatives to these proteins that I'll talk about, such as cellulose-based, soy and vegetable fiber-based foods, which imitate meats, which provide the same level of nutrition, but they're much less energy intensive to produce. If you look at the figures that I have above, I'm going to start by talking about the top left, which is the amount of carbon dioxide produced per kilogram of consumed food. If you look at the left, these are all the meat products, the livestock products, such as beef, lamb, chicken, turkey, etc. And on the right, you see all the starches, such as potatoes and the vegetable products, which are severely less than the meat products. Now, it's important to look at the production emissions, because on the left, you see that the green bars are a lot bigger than the yellow bars are. And that means just producing these foods is producing the most emissions, and it is producing greenhouse gases, which are harming our ozone layer and dealing with climate change. And the post-production emissions, which are just the processing, transport, etc., is far lower than the production emissions of livestock. And as we slowly go over, you'll see that a total of all the vegetable products, as far as production emissions goes, would be just making beef for a country, which is a pretty ridiculous number to look at. Now, another study by the World Preservation Foundation goes into the carbon dioxide emissions by gram per single serving of some of our favorite foods. The vegetarian options, again, are far smaller on the left. You look at soy milk, vegetarian burgers, vegetarian sausages, which are all soy or cellulose-based meats. These are around 300 or 400 grams of CO2, whereas a single cheeseburger is close to 5,000, which is 10 times the amount of CO2 produced for a single serving of food. Now, if you look at the water consumption, of producing these foods. A big problem is the drought in California, for example, right now. And that's a big agricultural hub as well. They have a lot of livestock there. The beef in particular, it's 15,000 cubic meters of water to produce a single ton of ground beef. Now that number is the complete addition of all the other products that are in the vegetable or starch category. And that's just really killing us because we're not able to provide the energy it takes to produce these foods. However, the demand's so high that we have to continue to do it, and it's an unsustainable process. On the far right are footprints of carbon dioxide per person based on their diet over a single year. And this is just a 2,000 calorie diet, very basic. If you look at the meat lover and the average categories, those include beef. Even those compared to a person who is not a vegetarian but does not consume beef is a significant increase. Compared to a vegan or a vegetarian, that's an almost twofold increase in the amount of CO2 emissions produced per person. And a lot of the problems that we're facing really are a summation of all these little things, like the emissions problems, the amount of water that's used, the amount of energy it takes to produce the foods that we enjoy. And cumulatively, it seems like producing livestock is one of the most harmful things that we do in our country. Now, I personally am kind of a hypocrite in this space because I enjoy my meat products. I probably eat 2 eggs a day, maybe like half a pound of ground beef or chicken to sustain my level of nutrition that I need. But I'm starting to look at alternative options because in 50 years we're not going to be able to do this anymore. We've got to make changes, and our generation in particular has the most resources and the most information available to us. So we're able to make more educated choices when it comes to the lifestyle choices that we make. And to give you some comparisons, it takes about a half a cup of tofu or a single cup of black beans to match the nutrition of a single serving of beef or chicken. Now, it doesn't seem that crazy, but maybe like switching to something like black beans or tofu every other day or something, that actually has a profound impact when everyone starts doing it. When everyone starts talking about it, when we make choices like that, we can actually have a profound impact. So hopefully I could give you some insight on the harmful effects of using livestock and animal-based products, and we could make better choices together. So do you have any questions or comments?
Would you consider cutting beef altogether out of your diet, or maybe
it seems to be the most harmful, that's overall, as far as the amount of water wasted, the amount of energy that goes into it, and the amount of CO2 emissions, that single section seems to be the most harmful. Just looking at this right here, a big portion of that is just beef and lamb, and as far as I know, not many people eat lamb. So beef seems to be the most harmful.
So you'd be willing to cut beef out of your diet a little bit?
Yeah,
not altogether.
I mean, it's going to take some time, and it's weaning out of these bad habits is what makes a big change. Slowly working towards better lifestyle choices is what makes it sustainable. It just continuously going down the wrong path is going to eventually cause really big problems. And we have a chance right now to make these choices and talk about it, so everyone can become aware of it. And as a whole, we can slowly work in the right direction.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.